Yo guys, what is good? Welcome back to the Uncle Sharma channel. Another general Serie A video, and today we're going to focus on Napoli, Spalletti's Napoli. Of course, as you guys may know, if you follow me for a long enough time, or you follow me on Twitter for a long enough time, you'll know that I'm a Spalletti fan. So I do have a little soft spot for Napoli, and shouts out to my boy Napoli Talk. Make sure you guys check out his channel. But they've been busy this summer, and they've received a lot of criticism for what's going on in this summer. So let's take a look at the ingoings and outgoings and decide whether can they retain their top 4 position in the league or even improve on that. And you, of course, guys, let me know at the end of the video what your thoughts are. So first of all, let's take a look at Napoli's outgoings, and this is where they've received the criticism quite rightly, because saying that leaders are leaving their team it's an understatement. De Laurentiis just opened the barn door and just told pretty much every single leader in this team to leave, or the contract was over. And you can see that here, Transfermarkt have the departures there. Of course, the most important one is Kalidou Koulibaly. This guy was, to me, this guy was the captain ahead of Insigne. This guy was the guy who was leading this team by example, by the level of his performances off the pitch. And I've said many times before, to me, it was just a top 5 centre back in this Serie A for a long time, and one of the best centre backs in the world, which I hope he's going to get that recognition for in the Premier League, and I think he will. But losing him at 31 years of age for 40 million euros, yes, is a pretty good deal financially. But at the same time, you're losing the guy who was able to lead the defense to become the joint best defense in Serie A last season, or he was in the top 3 with Inter and Milan. And of course, on top of that was the Insigne loss, but we knew about the Insigne loss for months and months from last year. He went to Toronto, he went to get his bag in Canada, so fair play to him. But to me, he's a loss, but we saw last season, the guy is already on a declining phase in his career. I don't think they're actually going to miss him too much. Miss some important penalties for them last season as well. Scored a lot of penalties as well, but at the end of the day, I think he's going to be a big miss symbolically, but I don't know how much of a miss he's going to be on the pitch. But at the same time, he still was one of their leaders, and he was the actual club captain, so that's never good, losing your club captain on the free. David Ospina, the goalkeeper, another big loss to me, another one of their leaders, another one of their more experienced players. Definitely a better goalkeeper than Meret for me. Actually quite underrated in terms of what he provided to Napoli over the last few years. From non-Napoli fans, for sure, I've always rated what he did at Napoli. So he's definitely going to be a big miss, and let's see if Meret can finally step up to the mark and become the number 1 goalkeeper for Napoli. I still have my doubts on Alex Meret being able to do that. Fawzi Goulam is also one who has a contract expired, but of course over the last few seasons, since his ACL injury, he's never been the same player, so not too much of a loss there. But Dries Mertens, man, this is the guy as well. Yes, he's 35 years old. Yes, he didn't have that much of an impact again on the pitch last season probably, but again, he was one of the captains of this team, and losing so many all in one go, you can understand losing maybe 1 or 2, but you're losing Koulibaly, Ospina, Insigne, Mertens, Goulam all in one go. That's a massive blow to take all in one summer for Spalletti to manage that dressing room without these leaders and long-time veterans of the club. So now let's take a look at their incomings, and they have done some very interesting incoming business for sure. I think it's actually been a very underrated transfer market from Napoli. So to replace Koulibaly, they brought in the 25-year-old Korean centre-back from Fenerbahce, Min-jae Kim, or Kim Min-jae. Highly rated. Inter were linked with him as well. He was very close to joining Rennes in France just before Napoli swooped in. And of course, the Turkish league isn't as high quality league as some of the other leagues out there, but this looks like it could be a smart signing. Anguissa being made a permanent transfer. Yes, he was already there last season, but 13 million pounds, about 15-16 million euros. That is a smart signing. That just made sense to make that permanent. Matias Oliveira, this is addressing a weakness in the team. With Mario Rui actually performed quite well last season, but he still remains he still remains the weakness of their starting 11. And hopefully Matias Oliveira, after some adaptation period, is probably gonna in the long term take over that left back spot. So they have looked to replace that quite nicely. And now this one is the one who's really interesting. Kvicha Kvaratskhelia. I'm just going to go in Kvara. His name is quite hard to pronounce. 21-year-old Georgian coming in. Only £9 million. This is some good scouting. This guy looks very exciting to me. A dribbling demon, pace, but also final product. Like, this guy clearly can see the goal, has an eye for a goal, has an eye for an assist. Of course, has got a lot of refining to do. Needs to improve his decision making. Can he adapt to the tactical demands of Serie A? Can he adapt to the Napoli way, the Italian way of living? So big question marks, but I am very excited to see. And this is where I was saying where I don't think they're going to miss Insigne too much, because I think this guy can take over from what was not the Insigne from a few years ago. I'm talking about the Insigne from last season, who was struggling to get open play, goals and assists. And so I think that this guy, after a period of adaptation, I think is going to take the league not by storm, but I think he's going to be. I think he's going to have a good first year into Serie A. Now, another smart signing from them, Leo Østigård from. He played at Genoa last season, but they've signed him from Brighton. Again, very cheap, £4.5 million, 6, 7, 8 million euros. I think there's some bonuses in there. 22 years old. I liked him. I know Genoa got relegated. They conceded a lot of goals, but Østigård impressed me. He's an old school, rugged centre back. Very athletic. He loves to get stuck in, loves the physical contact, and I think Napoli fans are going to like him. And I mean, for that price, that is an absolute steal. Even if he doesn't perform, there's not much of a loss there. And that's what Napoli have always done, guys. Like, when you think about it, yes, it is the end of an era. It's the end of the Sarri Napoli era for sure. This tweet here by IFTV was the perfect visualization of that end of an era. Every single one of those players now has gone once now that Koulibaly left for Chelsea. It literally is an end of an era, but that doesn't mean that Napoli can't create a new era. And I think it's actually the most exciting or interesting project this summer in Serie A, because there's so much change happening, there's so much refresh coming into the team, and Napoli have shown in the past that they are able to rebuild their team. Kim Min-jae from the Turkish league, Zambo Anguissa coming from relegated Fulham, who have got promoted now, but they signed him when he was relegated. Matias Oliveira from Getafe, Kvicha, quite unknown, Østigård from Brighton. These are the types of signings that Napoli make. Koulibaly, where did they sign him from Belgium? Mertens from Holland, Mario Rui from Empoli, Di Lorenzo from Empoli, Rahmani, Hellas Verona, Jorginho, Hellas Verona back in the day, Alan, Udinese back in the day. Like, this is what Napoli do. They usually scout their players very well. They don't come from the big teams. They usually don't pay massive money for them. There are cases here and there like Higuain, Osimhen, where they have paid a lot of money for some players. But usually Napoli go for these, unproven players at the top level, but then they give them that trust, and they trust the scouting enough that these guys are being able to come through, and they trust the coach that they're able to be brought through by the coaching. And I think this is what Napoli are going to do once again this season. I think they're going to be once again a very strong contender for the top 4 spots. And again, depending on how they finish the mercato, they could again potentially challenge for the Scudetto like they did last season, up until that Milan match at home where they lost. They were definitely in the Scudetto race, if not one of the favorites. The current rumors are looking very good for the next upcoming transfer. They're looking at apparently Kepa Arrizabalaga from Chelsea as the potential keeper to bring in. Again, as clearly they still don't trust Merit fully, quite rightly. But up front, Petagna has gone to Monza, and they're looking to replace him with Giovanni Simeone from Hellas Verona. I mean, that is an instant massive upgrade, because Petagna is Petagna. I've never really particularly rated him at the top level. But Simeone coming in after that season he's had, that is a massive upgrade. He's going to push Osimhen for the starting spot as well. It's not going to be like Petagna, who we just knew was never going to be touching the starting spot unless Osimhen is injured. To replace Mertens in behind, the striker, it could be Raspadori or Deulofeu that they link with. Deulofeu had one of his best ever seasons just last season in terms of creation, goal creating actions, shot creating actions. He's definitely stepped up to the play, and I think he is ready for the step up to a bigger club now. Raspadori had a great season for Sassuolo. I think he would fit into that Mertens role as well. So overall, I'm actually quite impressed with the transfer market that Napoli have, but of course they need to finish strongly. As I said, like they need to bring in that vice Osimhen. That is a step up on Petagna for sure. And they definitely need to replace Mertens if they want to play the 4-2-3-1. And let's see what happens with Zielinski. He's heavily linked to West Ham to leave. Zielinski is a player I like a lot, and I think they would miss him. But if they replace him with Idelufeu, they're also linked with Barak from Hellas Verona. Like all these three names potentially could be even an upgrade on Zielinski, who was very inconsistent. But of course, the big question is Spalletti. Can he keep this team together? You know, the other day there was a video released of a training session where he sent Osimhen away, like he sent him back to the dressing room because he was talking too much, or he thought that he was just not behaving properly. We know Spalletti's history with some players like Totti, like Icardi over the years, that, you know, he likes to maybe pick a fight with the with the best player at that club. So let's see, is he going to be able to manage the Osimhen situation well? And we've seen over the years, especially Interfan, things can implode with Spalletti sometimes if things go out of hand, or, you know, you lose in the dressing room, it kind of spills out and it seems like he's not able to correctly manage everything that's going on. But I think this guy, as usual, he's just almost as guaranteed as you can get to get a top 4 spot. Roma pushing very strong, Lazio looking good, Fiorentina looking good as well. So that top 4 race is going to be as close as it ever been, I think, in Serie A. But I am confident that if Napoli close the mercato as strong as it's looking right now, if De Laurentiis backs Spalletti properly, I think they can once again finish comfortably in the top 4. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you make of Napoli's mercato, losing all those leaders but bringing these unproven, untested guys in? What do you make of that strategy? What do you make of the rumors, Raspadori, Barak, Simeone? What do you make of that? And where do you think they can finish? Let me know in the comments down below. Leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Let me know which other team I should look at from the Serie A. And yeah, catch you on the next video. But of course, as always, whether it's a Napoli video, Lazio, Roma video, at the end, it's always Forza Inter. Ciao.